May 14th, 1607, I'm standing knee-deep in Virginia swamp water, watching 104 English guys flailing violently because they've never seen mosquitoes like these before. We just planted a flag and called this place Jamestown, but unlike all those jokers from Section 1 who showed up and bounced, Columbus, Cabot, Cortés, I'm here to stay and build something permanent. My name is John Smith, and this is the AP US History My Story podcast. Here we are, the first permanent English settlement in what is now the United States. The Virginia company that funded our little expedition, they were convinced we'd find gold immediately and start shipping it back to England. Spoiler alert, that's not happening. What we're actually going to discover is tobacco cultivation, but we're still many years away from the Marlboro Man and his herd of cancer cows. The next 150 years are going to be absolutely insane in terms of how many different types of European colonies get established, and each one is going to create completely different relationships with Native Americans, completely different economic systems, and completely different ideas about what it means to be an American. The economic motivations driving all of this colonization are kind of wild. Europe is in the middle of this commercial revolution where international trade is creating massive wealth, but it's also creating massive competition. Every country wants to control trade routes, access to raw materials, and markets for their manufactured goods. But here's what's going to make American colonization different from what's happening in Asia or Africa. The diseases we Europeans are carrying are going to absolutely devastate Native American populations. We're talking about 90% decline in some areas. It's going to create this weird situation where there's suddenly all of this empty land available, which is going to shape how European colonization develops. And the labor systems that emerge, they're going to define American society for centuries. You'll hear in episode 2.6 how the economic success of colonies like Virginia is going to depend entirely on forced labor, first from indentured servants, then from slavery. The religious dimensions are equally complex. Some colonies like Massachusetts, which you'll hear about from the Pilgrims and Puritans, are going to be founded specifically as religious communities trying to create perfect Christian societies. Others like New York under Dutch rule are going to be much more tolerant and commercially focused. And then the Great Awakening is going to sweep through all of these colonies and create the first truly American cultural movement that crosses colonial boundaries. That's when these separate European settlements start thinking of themselves as part of something bigger. The seeds of the American Revolution are being planted now, even though it won't happen for another 170 years. Standing here in this Virginia swamp, watching my fellow Englishmen try to figure out how to build shelters, find food, and dreaming of a future where a simple spray exists that repels mosquitoes, I can see that American colonization is going to be messy, violent, and way more complicated than anyone planned. The voices you're going to hear in the next episodes: Dutch explorers, Catholic proprietors, religious leaders, rebellious planters, and enslaved people. They're all going to be part of this massive experiment in creating new societies. None of us really know what we're doing, but we're about to spend the next century and a half figuring it out, and the consequences are going to shape American society forever. Like, follow, and share the AP US My Story podcast, because these stories hit different when you hear the original voices that shaped our country.